Okay guys, so today is raining pretty good and it's a perfect day to start on the new project, and I'm going to start a new series of videos on this. This building right here, everything that you can see right here needs a foundation underneath of it. It has none right now. There's a few stacked stones underneath parts of it. Maybe it goes down a few feet with stacked stones, I'm not really sure, but it definitely doesn't have a proper foundation underneath of it. So yes, this could have been knocked down and we could have started over again like the other side, but this is going to save some money. It may not save some time, but it'll save some money. So we're going to put a 4-foot foundation underneath of this. So the first thing we're going to do is put an opening in this end of the building. This end is the gable end and it has no weight on it. The weight is all on the eave ends. So I'm going to make an opening here big enough for the excavator to come in, and I'm going to dig down like 4.5 feet for this foundation. And over on these eave ends, we're going to leave the wall as far down as we can and then just cut the bottom of the wall enough to put the foundation in. And so kind of the plan is that I'm going to put some beams on that wall going from where it's supported over there all the way to the end, and then extend it beyond and put some posts down. Same thing on that side. And then the eave ends will be supported, and then we can cut the bottom of the wall out and leave enough room for the foundation. So inside this area, this is a bedroom and this is a bathroom. And so this is the areas that we need to put a foundation underneath. The rest of the house now has a foundation underneath of it. So from there all the way around to there doesn't have a foundation. It's probably stacked on a few stones, but it's not 4 feet down and it's not sealed up. So air gets in, animals get in. So what we're going to try to do is save everything above the windows, and I may have to take out the windows to put in this foundation. Maybe not. I mean, I definitely got to take those out because this is going to be where we access with the excavator, but I'm going to try to save the windows on the side and not have to take them out and put them back in again. So we're going to take out this dividing wall right here, and the trusses appeared at first to sit on this wall and rest weight on it, but then when I looked underneath, there's really nothing underneath it here. So I think we're going to try to support that with a small beam and then put a post underneath of it, but I don't think it's got crazy weight on it. So the idea is that we're going to rip up the floor, put a new foundation underneath, and then reframe the floor and then reframe that wall. And so I'm going to come through this area right here, take out these windows and maybe a few feet beyond that, and then I'll have access with the excavator. The excavator is 8'6" tall. So it's going to be really tight with these beams, but I'm also going to be another foot down. So normally I would try to save this kind of wood and reuse it somewhere, but the bottom side of this is like a foot from the ground and it's seen its days with animals and moisture and mold and stuff, so I don't think it's really worth saving. So we're going to tear that up, just cut it up with a sawzall and tear it up, and then we'll have a place to work. So I established the level that we're going to be at here. This is 5 foot down from the top of the foundation that we put in before. On the other side, that leaves 8 inches for footings and 4 inches for gravel, and then 4 foot for the wall. So we still got to get this nice chunk here. That side we got to scrape down to make that look better. So we're going to try to dismantle some of this rock wall here, and then I'm going to start on this side and put the beam up and take the dirt out from underneath of it. Just dug this down a little deeper, and then I'm going to set this post here to hold up this beam. Beam's going to cantilever over. That's just solid concrete filled blocks. See if there's any sag on this beam. Not even. So I just gotta get rid of this pile here. It's kind of in my way to keep digging. What I did before I left the other day was dig this out so it all pitches downhill. All the water goes that way. I had a feeling we were gonna get some heavy rains. I didn't want to get it all flooded in here. So the only water that got in is this little bit right there. That's it. Everything else is completely dry. So we got our level established out there. So now we just got to tamp it down and put some gravel on, and then we're ready for the footings. So I just got to get the rest of this gable end dug out, and then I got to get this eave end over here. Okay, so we got this side supported, and I did a little bit more work to get it supported because you can see the roof is lopsided and it has more weight on this side than the other side. That one only has like a 9-foot horizontal span on that, so it's not that much weight. But this one is almost twice that. So I wanted to make sure I got an extra post there, and I got that diagonal piece. I'll probably end up just doing that here too. So you can see the way we did it is there's a post directly underneath, and then these on the back are basically to support everything and keep it straight. So to have two pieces next to each other, everybody thinks that's a post, that's strong. It's not really that strong though, because it can buckle. It can buckle like this. So if you have two pieces of wood, it's always stronger, much stronger to make a T like this, you see, than it is to have two of these together. And that's because they're both going different directions with the grains. So they work against each other and with each other at the same time. And I put these diagonal pieces going across here because the way that these LVLs work is they're so thin and tall that the first thing that happens when you put a lot of weight onto them is they start buckling like this. So that's why we have those diagonals there, because that way it can't move like this. It also squares it up with the building, so in case somebody knocks it with a bucket, it's not going to break something. So once I get this other eave end dug out, then I'm going to put another small beam on the top here just to hold up that little bit of wall right there, because it's not holding up the roof at all. And then I'm going to dig out this last. All right, so that's about where we need to be. I just got this one last chunk here, from here to there. And then I got this whole side to do. the trusses kind of have a step up right there. It's kind of hard to see right now, but so right there, I'm not sure if I need to support that or not. It wasn't really supported before, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't have been supported. So I think I'm gonna put a post right in the middle here, and then I can take that post away, and then I can get the rest of that. Trying to load this dirt out of here. So I'll show you what we're working with here. It's getting kind of muddy right now. This is where we're dumping all this fill. Pretty much everything you see here is from the addition, which is an enormous amount of fill. And then that new pile is from what we're doing now. Everything you see from there all the way across there, except for that pile and that pile, are from the addition. You can see it's all muddy right here. So that's where we're dumping it. And where we're taking it from is way over there, you can see. Probably be a little bit more efficient to take the dump truck and fill it up and bring it over, but it's just too muddy over here to do that. All right, just watch that thing as I go up here. in case you guys were wondering how these tracks are working, let's try this out. They're a little rough when you have hard packed ground like this, and there's gravel on it and it's packed down. But over here where it's really muddy, we couldn't do anything before. As a matter of fact, earlier this year, it got so bad that we had to stop for a little while, and I actually had to get the tractor instead of the skid steer. So it's just really muddy here. See, these ruts are over a foot deep. Just being able to get through this, never mind actually doing something while you're going through, just being able to get through it is more than we could do before. Just going through that patch right there is more than it could do before. Much run out of power before you start slipping. But even a dozer is going to lose traction if you push too hard. So just one little rock holding that whole thing up. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't in the building when I took that last little rock out, but you can see it's all up in the air now. Really not that much weight on it though. Really wasn't too worried about it. These are two 14-inch LVLs. They can hold quite a bit of weight. Plus I got that mid support there. There's like 7 feet of wall that I'm holding here. But a lot of it's sheared up to right there anyways, from the plywood. Alright, so right now I'm just trying to keep some of this dirt here for backfill. So there's a lot of rocks in it and I want to separate them and then stockpile it right here. But you can see there's a lot of rocks in here, so I'm just going to sort them out, and that stuff's just going to go back in the field over there. And that way I can have a pile that I'm going to cover up with an insulated blanket, and I'll have it for backfill. Got some heat in here. We're about to have this all closed up so that the heat will stay. It's been pretty cold the last few days, so what I did, or what I'm in the process of doing right now, is just putting these insulated concrete blankets on the fill. That way we have something to backfill when we're done, because otherwise we'll just have a clump of frozen dirt and that doesn't really do much good. Got another one over here. These are like triple layer. They work really well. I think they're 12 by 20 sheets. I got like, I don't know, 25 of them, something like that. So we're ready to pour the footings. So we're drilled and epoxied right into the old foundation there. Well, it's not really old, we just put it in, but the existing foundation. Got a snorkel there. So I've done work like this before in the winter where I put in a foundation in the freezing weather. It's not terrible, but it definitely takes a lot more time, and you got to keep these propane tanks switched out. I got this one, which can put out a massive amount of heat, but that's on low right there. But then I figured out how to actually put it even lower than that when you want it overnight. But then I also have this big buddy heater here, and that works really well. We need to be able to heat not just the concrete, but outside of it too, like at least a foot, 18 inches on the outside of it. We don't want the frost to creep underneath of these footings either. Propane gives off a lot of moisture when it's burning, so that's why there's a lot of ice. So I was a little bit worried about this snow last night. I am so glad to see that that is still standing and all the plastic is still on it. I can see there's some condensation on the inside, which means the heat is still going. Everything looks good. It's about 18 inches of snow. Doesn't look like those beams are sagging at all. That is wonderful news. I was just really hoping that the wind didn't blow down that plastic, or the combination between the wind and the heavy snow, because I definitely don't want anything to freeze near those footings. So I got the skid steer here. I thought I was gonna have to snow blow my way in to the skid steer, but I just kind of rammed it through. Just barely made it though. I gotta snow blow my way to the skid steer. It's right over there. Okay, so you can see the snow came up pretty high on the sides there, but we're all good in here. It's nice and warm. It's pretty cold out. I don't know, in the mid-teens, 15, 18 degrees, something like that. So we just need to strip these forms, and then we'll place our vertical rebar and put in the ICFs, insulated concrete forms. We got these extra supports here just for the snow load. And that piece on the bottom is so it doesn't spread out. And the piece on the top is to kind of hold those together at the top, kind of like a roof. But I just figured I'd put one on each side here just for a little bit of extra support, because we have a 50-pound snow load here, so I don't know if it's 50 pounds per square foot on this storm, but it's probably at least 30. So whenever we're doing a cold weather pour like this, I always like to check the temperatures. You can use just a regular cheap infrared gun. You can use a thermal imager and check. See, out there is like 37, 36 degrees. And then the actual footing itself is 46, 45 degrees. And so it's really important that you check both the footings and like a foot or two outside of the footings because you don't want that to freeze either, because then it'll start freezing underneath of the footing, and then you'll have a problem. But if you use a clean gravel like this, then you really don't have to worry too much about the freezing. This stone has a lot of voids in it, so the water can freeze and expand, and it doesn't really change too much. But it's still definitely a good idea to try not to get anything freezing around it or underneath of it. So you can see, like, up here in the walls it's a lot hotter, and then when you get up to the ceiling it's even hotter. The cool thing about this thermal imager though is you can see the studs in the walls. You can see that it's not insulated too well with the studs. So here's a wall that still has sheetrock on it. Now you can actually see where the studs are. That is a GFCI. So you can see there's a stud right there. Check out how sensitive this is though. I'm just going to put my hand right up to this wall right here. Okay, I didn't touch it yet. I'm just going to touch it for 1 second. Ready? Watch. Here, let me show you. There's my hand. Alright, I'm going to touch it for 1 second. Touching, not touching. Check out how sensitive that is. Here, I'm going to do a half a second this time, alright? Ready? Alright. Going to touch it now. Half a second. Right there. Alright, now I'm going to touch it for like 5 seconds this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, you can still see the first one. So that was just sheetrock. Here's just plastic right here. Let's see. I'm going to touch it for 1 second. 1 second. That's it. See, I imagine that plastic will dissipate the heat a lot quicker. Yep. Yeah, see, that's already disintegrating. But let me see. With this concrete here, I'm going to touch this real quick. I'm going to touch it for 5 seconds. Look, there's the footing. Dissipates pretty quickly on the concrete. Now I'm going to touch this cold metal right here on this heater for 1 second. 1 off. Oh wow, that didn't actually make a lot of difference on that. Huh. Alright, I'm going to do it for 5 seconds. Okay. Wow, look at that. I think it's spreading the heat out more than anything. I did not expect that. So you can see there's some heat coming out of the bottom. A little bit out of the window. Wall is cold. The snow is 16 degrees, 15 degrees. Should be a little heat left in that skid steer since I was using it. That was hours ago though. You can see the soffit is lit up a little bit. I'm sure that's because the exhaust vent isn't working that great right now because of the snow that's covering up the exhaust. So it's kind of like exhausting out of the soffit, which is not really ideal, but there's really nothing you can do about it. Well, anyways, I gotta get shoveling off that roof. I don't really trust it even though it's holding up. I want to take at least some of the weight off of it, so I'm gonna go up there and shovel it off. So on the next video, we're gonna be installing the ICFs and waterproofing them and doing a rat slab. And then we'll probably do another video for the floor and maybe another one for the rest of the stuff.